Amanda, you got this the way you want it? Okay. Okay. Joe, you coming down? Okay. Ready? So, I spoke with Russell Ott this morning. We had a great conversation. I indicated to him I was conceding the race, and that I look forward to supporting him in November. We had a very cordial conversation, and by the way, during this entire campaign, we've been cordial. Those of you who've been to debates, those of you who have seen us in joint appearances from time to time, we might have gotten a little frayed, but most of the time it was very, very cordial. I wish him the best of luck, and I'm going to support him in November. Now, I want to say a couple things. First of all, these people staying around me helped me in this campaign, and we worked hard. We had a strategy. So did Russell. And from an analytical standpoint, it appears we met our goals in Richland, met our goals in Lexington. Calhoun County turned out huge numbers. The last senator from Calhoun County was Marion Gressett, who served until 1984. I think the folks in Calhoun County want a senator. They certainly expressed that with their votes yesterday. And I'll be happy to answer questions in a moment, but let me wax philosophical for just a second. We went through a process yesterday. I lost. Okay? The process worked. I'm not accusing anybody of stealing anything. I'm not having a temper tantrum. I'm not expressing some doubt in our system. I'm also, as you know, a lawyer. When a jury returns a verdict, I've never in my life, in my 50 years of doing this, expressed any concerns about the validity of that verdict. We use the appellate process. And the system worked yesterday, and it worked like it's supposed to work in America. And so, you know, I've been doing this for a while. Matter of fact, I would say that the tragedy from yesterday is that such a promising political future was nipped so early in the bud. I had to get that out. I feel better now. But in all seriousness, I've been doing this for a long time, and I've got no regrets about the way we ran this campaign, no regrets about my 6 years service in the Senate. I think I'm saddened that Sandy Sen may be beaten. I'm saddened that Katrina Shealy is in a runoff. I'm saddened that Henry Gustafson also was beaten yesterday. The 3 of the 5 sisters did not make it cleanly through the race yesterday. That speaks volumes about where our state is, at least in the Republican primary. The last thing I'll say is this. Y'all have inquired about the internal workings of this and that and what this played and how that played and whatever. I'll be happy to answer questions about that in just a moment. But at the end of the day, there was a low turnout statewide and in this district. And I just got to say to the voters out there, you know, you get what you pay for. If you don't vote, don't blame the State House. Don't blame the Senate or the House. You get what you pay for. And so, and that's not to denigrate Russell. That's just to say when there's not an exuberant participation in the electoral process, you don't necessarily get what the people think they want. Okay, any questions?
Senator, you talked about how you were using a more modern campaigning. You had certain phone numbers you were calling
Sure.
every night. Russell Ott was knocking on doors very proudly about that.
Well, I beat him in Richland County substantially, beat him in Lexington County substantially. The doors he was knocking on were in his hometown in Calhoun County. So the door knocking he did in these 2 counties really didn't benefit at all. Okay? It's where he used the hometown pride and knocking on doors of his neighbors, people he'd known his entire life, to make sure they voted, and they did. That was the difference, was the margin in Calhoun County. The other counties performed exactly as we thought they would. About 22% is what they did in 20. I think I'm right. Is it 22% we thought in Richland and Lexington? You're right. Okay. And Calhoun was substantially more than that. I don't know what the ultimate result was.
Did you spend more time in Calhoun County?
Let me say, I spent some time in Calhoun County. It was not really warm and fuzzy down there. They had their hometown boy. The idea was they was going to get the 22% turnout in Calhoun, and we were going to do the same thing in Richland and Lexington, and we'd win. We just did not anticipate. And again, this Marion Gressett having their first senator in 40 years is a part of all that, the hometown pride.
Senator, during the primary, you had said that you believe that Russell was possibly running in the wrong primary, and now you're saying you're supporting him in November. What do you want the voters to know about why you're supporting him in November?
I'm a Democrat. He's running as a Democrat. Now, we may disagree on issues, and it may be, my strong suggestion when we're planning to meet to him is to make sure he's clear. His position has changed on choice. He says he voted against the heartbeat bill. If it truly has changed, and he needs to come into these neighborhoods where he lost dramatically yesterday and explain his sincerity on that position. He also indicated he voted against the conference committee report on guns. He needs to explain why. But he's got to come in and sell his positions as a Democrat to Democrats. I'm convinced that he can win, and I'm a Democrat. I'm former chairman of the Democratic Party. I'm going to support Democrats over Republicans always.
And we were at that forum last month. Russell talked about this there. He had mentioned the defense of Alec Murdaugh. Do you think that played a part at all in the voters' minds?
We didn't see any evidence of that. Certainly, there may be people out there that predicated. Again, Richland and Lexington, we got substantial margin there. So, and again, I think this was about factors other than that. But let me say this to you: I am a lawyer. I've been prosecutor. I've been a defense lawyer. And if that played a factor in anybody's decisions yesterday, so be it. I'm not. That's who I am, and I'm not haven't changed in 50 years. I'm not going to start changing now.
Senator, no regrets, obviously, and low voter turnout. With that being known, would there have been anything you could have done differently, or anything that you're looking back on, like perhaps we overlooked something, or could have done this better?
Again, it turned out that it was all about Calhoun County, and now maybe we could have gotten the margins up in Richland and Lexington, but again, they were what they were in 2022. So. I think we ran a good campaign. I think we did what we needed to do. And sometimes, just like in a trial or just like in athletics, sometimes it ain't enough. And we lost. Look, somebody wants me to say, oh, we got cheated, or oh, we should have done this. Sometimes it just, you lose. And you lose because the other guy got more votes. This ain't complicated. And it's not a science. It is an art. So, look, I've enjoyed my service in the South Carolina Senate. There's been some good times and some bad times. I've enjoyed my service as solicitor here and on county council. I've had a number of different roles, state party chairman. This is just another chapter in my effort at public service. I'm going to continue to involve myself in the community. I'm going to continue to speak out where I think things need to be spoken about. But I'll be speaking as Dick Harpootlian, private citizen, and sometimes that has values, that sometimes it doesn't. But I'm proud. That quantum computer project down in Five Points is sparking international interest. That is something that'll be around long after I'm gone, and those are the kinds of things I'm very, very proud of.
Senator, you mentioned this is the end of one chapter. Do you have a sense of what the next chapter might be like? Any particular work that you're hoping to do with the party or anything like that?
I had an answer, but Amanda won't let me say it. But okay, so I've been in the Senate for 6 years. That involves almost 6 months a year, 3 days a week of going down to the State House. Some days are productive. Joe knows most days are not. And so, I'm looking forward to putting that lifestyle behind me and seeing what else might be out there that I can provide some useful purpose. Look, I'm not looking for a license plate. Never had one. I'm not looking for some sort of sinecure. I'm not looking for. I've got a great law practice. These people that work for me are just extraordinary. I've got a wife who's, as you know, stationed overseas. I'm begging to come home, and she may soon do that. She's, her public service is far in excess of what I do. She's there 24/7, dealing with some of the most difficult issues, whether it's Ukraine or Gaza, every day in a very, very, very tough environment. So I'm proud of her. I'm proud of what she's doing. But this aspect of my public service is over, and hopefully hers will be over soon, sometime this fall, and come on home.
Will you ever run again?
I don't know. I mean, look, Joe, I lost yesterday. Am I thinking about going and getting back into it now? I mean, I can't answer that. Something may tweak my interest. I mean, the good news is this. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm not constrained by a 9-to-5 job. I've got a great law practice, which has been very good to me financially. So I'm not constrained in any way to do whatever I want to do. It may be I do that. It may be, that I just go to court. I wouldn't mind having some interaction with the young lawyers on how to try a case, because what I see out there isn't impressing me. So I'd like to maybe get involved doing something like that. There's a number of things to do. I have a whole heck of a lot more time now to practice law and pursue whatever my passion is.
Senator Harpootlian, I know you said that you are supporting Representative Ott because he lost yesterday, but do you feel as though he is a qualified candidate to represent the Democratic Party as their?
Well, again, I think he has to define himself. I think he's qualified. He's been in the House for 12 years as a Democrat. He's been the assistant minority leader. I think he's going to find the Senate is a little more sedate, I guess is a good word. So I think it's important to look at his character, which I think is good, and look at his ability to assess and analyze his positions relative to his constituency. This isn't Calhoun County and Orangeburg County. This is Richland, Lexington, and Calhoun. But Calhoun's a very relatively, I think it's 10% of the district. So, I mean, these are the decisions he's going to have to make. I'm willing to support him, given what I know about him. Nothing else? Anything?
What are you going to say in your farewell speech?
What?
What are you going to say in your farewell speech on this on the floor?
Well, the question is, will I give a farewell speech? I mean, the one thing that I do find somewhat tedious in the Senate is a lot of speeches about nothing. It's sort of the Seinfeld show of legislatures. It's all about nothing. So I don't know whether I want to get up and bloviate about, and weep and gnash my teeth about how much I'm going to miss all that, because I'm not.
Are you going to cardboard cutout of yourself? Like Senator Hinkson?
Well, I've already got one. And I talk to it every day.
I do have just one last question.
Sure.
Do you see a shift in what voters' mindsets are from the moment when you first took office to today? What they find important, what they deem?
Over the last 6 years?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God, yes. We've had a huge shift to, this insanity of passing a bill that mandates a woman has to get an abortion before she knows she's pregnant. That's the most extreme, insane position I can imagine. Or that an 18-year-old kid can walk up and down the street with a concealed pistol or brandishing it. Insane. These positions don't make logical sense. And that's because we have these extremists who've been very successful at taking over our legislative process. They've done it in the Senate. They've done it in the House. And many of them know better. Many of these folks know better, but they're afraid of getting opposition in a primary. I noticed yesterday, I don't believe any of the Freedom Caucus people that Merle Smith opposed got beat yesterday, is the way I understand it. And some of the non-Freedom Caucus people did get beat yesterday. So it's going even more extreme. And, you know, the governor turning down federal money to feed kids this summer. I mean, these are extreme positions, and hopefully, folks will wake up with 100 kids. Or, you know, I was deputy solicitor for 12 years. I've seen the results of gunshot wounds. I've seen people that live through it with colostomy bags, or missing an arm, or a face torn up by a bullet. You know, these folks that are all about everybody carrying a gun, they haven't seen that. I've seen it. I don't want to see any more of it. Any other questions? Anything else? Alexander, you're very quiet. You're very quiet this morning.
Other people already asked my question.
Oh.
I was going to make a joke about whether you've discussed your favorite European country with President Biden, but you sort of answered that.
Yeah, my favorite European country for my wife?
Gotcha.
Not. Come home. Okay, thank you so much. And by the way, I appreciate y'all being pleasant, except for Alexander, during this process. And look, y'all got a job to do. I got a job to do. This ain't my first rodeo. And y'all have been extremely professional, and I thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all need